Today, when we think about farms, we probably have an image of vast fields of grain being planted and harvested with large tractors pulling various types of farm equipment. Much of what we see in our supermarkets today comes from large corporate farms. But it wasn't always that way. In fact, in the past, most of our country was fed by food grown and raised on small family farms. Farms where everyone in the family, even the children, had an important part to play in helping feed the nation. This was a time when the terms homegrown and organic gardening were just an ordinary, everyday part of life. If you ever wondered what life was like on an old family farm, plenty of books have been written that can give you a pretty good idea. But if you want to actually experience life on an old family farm, you can do just that at Fulmer's Farmstead, nestled in a luscious pecan orchard not far from Richton, Mississippi. Fulmer's Farmstead is a living history farm life experience where you get to roll up your sleeves and see what life on an old family farm was really like 50 to 100 years ago. Mrs. Jeanette Fulmer has years of experience working with large groups of people of all ages at the Fulmer, Mississippi Pecan Festival. She has organized several learning stations at the Fulmer Farm designed to allow participants to experience the fun, joy, and even some hard work which was part of life on an old family farm in a Mississippi coastal plains area.
We started building the farmstead actually for the Mississippi Pecan Festival that is 23 years old. Last year at the festival, we had the Pecan Festival in September, and last year at the festival we had 400 kids from area schools come out on field trips. And we decided this is a working farm. This is not something that we just do once in a while. We get up every morning and milk and feed chickens and hoe the garden and do all these things. So we said, what a great learning experience for the children. To the right here is the Jones house, and Miss Granny Breland makes biscuits. She makes biscuits the old-timey way. She takes her flour and her lard and her buttermilk and she rolls them out and she pats them out and puts them in a wood stove, and she bakes them, and the kids get to taste them. They get to help make them. On the back porch is Miss Betty. She is a lifetime dairy worker. Her family had dairies when they were coming up, and she takes them to see Rosie the cow, and she tells them about keeping a farm cow and what you have to do and how you milk and all this.
We milk Rosie every morning and every night, twice a day. We'll take a warm water and rag and wash her bag real good. Then we take a cloth and dry it. And the way we milk her is we take the top of the udder there and you strip down, and her quarters will give that milk down once that warm water and you just kind of squeeze and work your fingers, and she's real easy to milk, and she will give 2 to 3 gallons a day.
She comes back and she makes butter with our milk, and then the children get to experience churning with the churn and making butter, and then she puts it in the butter mold, and they learn all this through a process. The next house is the Dunham house, and Miss April is in there, and Reagan, and what they do is teach children about the lifetime chores that were done, every day. They got up and they dusted the house and they swept porches and they beat rugs and they made fire in the stove so they could start breakfast. They hung clothes on the line after they washed on a rub board. They watered their little vegetable gardens and their flower beds with their water from their wash. She even has an antique lawnmower where they push and they cut grass over there. She tends to the chicken yard too. They come in and they clean the nest out every day and put fresh straw for the chickens. She gathers eggs, they feed and water the chicken, and she tells them about the chicken yard. The next stop that they have is the shed, and at the shed there, they pot a pot with a seed out of compost dirt. They build the pot themselves with a pot farmer.
We are making biodegradable flower pots out of newspaper.
Are you going to get up there?
Roll it. Ready? Ready, right? You want to make the end here? Mash it down there real hard and twist it.
Like the ones like in that with that you can buy at Lowe's or whatever, and you plant the hole.
There you go. You can come over here and put you some dirt in it, and then she'll plant you a seed back here.
They make scarecrows for the garden. Miss Tracy's making lye soap there. She does that each time and shows them about lye soap and tells them the process of making lye soap and how they got lye from the ash.
It's like this one is. If y'all would like to touch it and get, the feel of how, it turned out. And they would just take it out of the wash pot and break it into chunks. And that's how they made their soap.
And then the next station is the compost and the cold frame. She talks to them about that and shows them how they get the compost from the raw things like straw and the manure and the garden debris and vegetable trimmings and things like this, and how it makes soil. And then they go from there to Mr. Carey and Mr. Ken and Mr. Ricky out in the farm. And there's a large vegetable farm in the back garden, and they watch horses and they help load a manure spreader today. They're cutting hay and picking hay up off the field. They are planting vegetable seeds out there. They're hoeing in potatoes today and plowing around the potato field. And I think Mr. Ken even let them scratch under some potatoes and get potatoes out from under growing potatoes this morning. So that's the stations that they go to, and then they'll have lunch. After lunch, they will meet with Miss Catherine Lewis, and she's a storyteller, and she has some plans for them. And also, there's 4 or 5 games that they have laid out for them each to do after lunch. And after lunch, I think Carrie takes them on hay rides.
Now everyone knows that living and working on a farm requires a lot of energy, and energy building requires food. So you know you're going to get fed. Mrs. Jeanette and her crew serve up a nice picnic lunch with plenty of lemonade or sweet tea to satisfy everyone's thirst. After lunch, there is still plenty to do and see. If you're lucky, you may be treated to some interactive storytelling. Here, Mrs. Catherine Lewis not only spins a good tale, but shows students some neat tricks on how to add pictures to their stories.
Now we're running out of space up here, but that rooster is going to have some squiggles. For his body, we're going to make the broken eggshell. Here's the back of the egg, and here's the shell that's broken. All drawings are made of all of these really simple elements that we're talking about. We're going to make another little view right down here.
Before leaving, everyone is treated to an old-fashioned hayride. What a great way to end a wonderful day on the farm. If a little work, a lot of fun, and experiencing a lifestyle which helps to keep our country fed sounds interesting to you, the Fulmer Farmstead just might be the place you're looking for. To borrow an old expression, I think that is donkey for come on and join the fun at the Fulmer Farmstead.